Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and as I said in the next video, I wanted to do is a video on using MercedUI. I'm going to use it as a CDN. It is available on NPM now, so you can download it on NPM, which means if you have like a Webpack setup or something like that, you should be able to export all the functions. Okay, because again, here on the bottom of it, I exported everything that's in the library. Cool. But let's create a new project. So I'm just going to actually go right over here to the project we kind of started a few videos ago, clear it all out. Let me actually just close out all these tabs. Keep everything straight. So here's the HTML. Let me clear out the body, because again, we're going to start from scratch. Okay, save. And then I'm going to clear out my app.js. Okay, save. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to create a to-do list app. Okay, and first, what did I want to do? I think that's good. Oh, first let's just show you how to bring it in there. So basically here, we just have a script tag that brings in the library. There's a CDN link. You'll find it in the documentation over there on GitHub. Okay. And then there's a script tag to our own JavaScript file. Okay, let's see here. How do I want to do this? First, let's just create a title website. I could just create the HTML right here, but what I want to do is just kind of use the library. So let's do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create 3 tags. Header, just so that way these tags exist. Header, main, I'm just going to kind of use these to kind of put things where I want to. Footer. Cool. Save. So let's first just do a header. Let's just make a basic component for the header. Okay. So we're going to use make component. Okay, and then we're just going to pass in an object. And inside make component, we have to pass in several things. We have to pass in the prefix for the component, which will, since this is our to-do app, we'll call it, the prefix will be to-do. Then we pass in the name. We'll say this is a to-do header. So header will be the name. And then we just have to pass in a template. Okay, and I am just going to just do that. And let's think about how we want this to look like. Let's keep it simple. So we're going to have an H1 that says our to-do application. Okay. I'm going to want a style tag, so we can style that a little bit. So we'll put an H1 here, H1, and then that H1 we're just going to do text align center. And that's fine. Let's just get that set up first. Save. So that'll create the component. So now we just have to use it. So in my header tag, I'll put to do header slash to do header. Okay, save. Now let's open this up to see if, make sure this is all working so far. Show in file manager. Open with Google Chrome. Boom, boom, boom. It's not quite showing up yet. Let's take a look at the console. Okay, module reference error, module is not defined. Invalid or unexpected token at make component. So HTML 3. Okay, I guess the first issue is I have to fix up. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this UI, and I'll just call this the npm version, because I guess apparently, see, I had this so that way it could be exported to npm, which apparently freaks out when I load it up as a CDN, so I'm going to take that out. Okay, so now I need to update the CDN real quick, so I'll go do that. Okay, I've updated the CDN. Let's refresh. Oh, the module should not be in there anymore, as I saved it, but I probably need to do like a hard refresh. Control Shift, or is it just a Shift? There we go. Okay, so good. So we got rid of that error. Now we can address the second one. Invalid or unexpected token. Make component UI app.js1. Let's go back over here. Make component app.js. I think it has to do. I think that's gonna have to do with the way I formatted my string here. I think I'm gonna have to do this. Save. Yep. Okay. See here. There we go. Okay. Yes, that works. Sometimes it's easier to actually create the template as a separate variable and then put it into the object. So like make a variable called template and then plop that in there. But oh well. Okay, cool. So that creates our first component. And see, like, all it took was that much code. That's one of the nice parts of the library. Just kind of abstracts over the web component API. And then I have my HTML tag right there. Very nice. Okay, so next step is we are going to want our to-do array. So we're going to put all our to-dos. So we're going to have const to-dos equals, right now it's going to be an empty array. Save. And we're going to map this. We're going to use the map to DOM to do this. Or actually, we'll use the make live component. There's a lot of different ways we could have done this. Okay, so we'll do make live component. Okay, in this case, we have to do prefix, which will be still part of our to-do app. So keep the prefixes uniform, but the name will be to-do. This will be where we display our to-dos. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to define this template separately. So const display template, because this template might be a little bit bigger. Okay, and let's see here. What do we want in this template? Oh, actually, no. Since I'm using make live component, I'm not going to be passing in a template anymore. I have to pass in a builder function. So I need to create that builder function. So const display builder equals, and then basically that display builder, the builder function that I pass into the make live component always gets passed in the store. So think of store as your state object in React, or your state in React. So it's an object with all this data. Okay, so I'm going to pass in the store into my function, and basically the store will just have this to-dos array. Okay, cool. So in that case, what we're going to do is use return map to string. because what we want to iterate over the array, and that's what map to string does. It's going to map over the array and then return sort of the template string based on how we map it over. So map to string with the first pass in the array, which would be store.todos. And let me remember what the syntax for map to string is. Map to string. Here we go, map to string. Array, callback. Well, we don't really need the element anymore, so I'll take that part out. Not that it will make or break it. Save. Okay. So it's an array and then the callback. That's what I thought, but want to be sure. Okay. So in that case, then we pass in a callback. So that's the value. Could take in the index, but I don't need the index right now. So, okay, map to string. We're going to return for each to do. Let me just think about how I want to set up these to dos. Each to do will be an object, and it'll just have. We'll just have a property called value. Won't get too fancy. So return a string. Okay, Birdie, you go over here. Okay, return a string that basically is a let me think about that. Here's what I am going to do. Instead of returning this, I'm going to store this in a li variable. You'll see why in a moment. Okay, and basically for each to do, we're going to have an li tag, and then we're going to put the to do in it. So we'll put the store, or actually it's value, because we're using this map function. Value dot value, because I'm just going to call the property value when we're done. Slash li. Okay, cool. Value slash li. So this is going to do is store all my li's in it as a string there. And then what I want to do is want to return from the builder. I want to return the string with a ul. Then in between the ul, we're going to interpolate our li's, all that map to string just created. And then we'll close that ul tag. Cool. And there we go. So basically this is going to create a string of all my li's, and then I just interpolate the li between the two uls. Nice. Okay, and that's my builder function. What it does is that every time my component's going to re-render, it's always going to re-render based on this function. So the current version of the store will be passed into this function and re-render this template. And you can get as creative as you want within the function. All that matters is that at the end, the function will return the string of your template. Cool. With that, that's good. So then our builder is called display builder. Okay. And then I need to put a comma over here. There we go. And do I need anything else at the moment? Oh yeah, I need a store. And the store is to-dos. Okay. And that should be good at the moment. Okay. And now we can go put that back in our DOM. So put that over here, which will be to-do display slash to-do display. Save. Okay. To-do display. Nice. So there we go. Now let's just refresh it, make sure that it's in the DOM. Again, it won't really be visible yet. So let's see here. Unexpected token. Make live. It showed up over here. Main. It's showing up. I don't like that. It's again that uncut syntax there. Unexpected token in app.js 17. Oh, I know why. Okie dokie. Here is why I always make this mistake. The store has to be passed in as a to-do. has to be passed in as a string. So what I need to do is interpolate to-dos in here. Okay, oh, so I'm gonna do that right. So when you first initially create the component, it's expecting everything as a string. The function will render fine. It'll interpolate it and just turn it into a string naturally. You could still just pass it the string if you wanted to. But for this, it really just, you have to do this. So I have to first put in the backticks, then the $, then to-dos. Okay. And that should fix that error. Where is it? Unexpected token, comma. Did I put an extra comma somewhere? Let's see. Prefix to do, name, display, builder, display builder, store. No, that's fine. Okay, so the reason why is because to-dos is empty. So it thinks I'm not passing in a parameter here. So since it's an empty array. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just interpolating the variable to-dos for now, I'm just going to put in square brackets a empty array and see if that works out any better. And because the array doesn't have any length, it's going to have a problem mapping it. Oh, okay, I see why. It's because I need to change my store, because see, the way I did my builder, I'm assuming that there's a property inside of an object called to-do. So my store object has a property called to-dos, and that's the array. So I need to fix that. So I need to go in here, put an empty object, have a property called to-dos. Okay. And that should do it. Because then we'll just take the existing to-dos array, which is fine. Save. Does that fix it? Yes, it does. Okay, good. Okay, we don't have any error, and we should see here in main to-do display. Okay, good. Okay, so that was just mostly me getting used to sort of the little nuances of this. Okay, cool. So that's the store. Okay, so again, basically what's happening here, I'm passing in an object with the property to-dos, so it's gonna again grab the to-dos, this empty to-dos item. But the reason I was having an error is because it was, again, the way I wrote my builder was assuming that store is an object with a property called to-dos, and that's not what I gave it. So that was on me. Save. Okay, so now that we got that done, now we're gonna create a form. Okay, and let's see here. How do we want to do this? I will just create the form directly in the DOM for this particular one. Okay, there's different ways you can do this. I'm just going to create the form. Form. Okay. /form. And there is only going to be one input. Okay, and that's going to have the name. Well, we'll say it's a type. It's going to be text. Okay, type text. And input. Puts little ending slash here. I want the name to be value, because let me see here. Let me just go back to our code. Because in our template we assume that, yeah, it's going to have a value. Oh, that's going to get confusing. Let me think about that for a second. No, that should be fine. So the key can be value, because it takes the name as the key and then the value as the value. So that'll be fine. So we'll just have a key named value. Okay, input type text. That's fine. Good. And then I hate having to sit there and do like a, event.prevent default. So I just like putting my buttons outside the form. So button, so this button is going to be called before submitting. So submit / button. Now we need to create a function for submitting the button. Okay, so let's go back to our app.js. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to call const submit equals, and we don't really need to pass anything in. Okay, so first things first, we want to push the value of the array. So we want to push in that object. So basically, we're going to just take the to-dos array, and we're going to push the value into it. And what we're going to push is we're going to use the form tool. Actually, we have to set up the form tool. So first, let's grab the form from the DOM. Form equals document.querySelector. Form. That grabs the form, stores it in the form variable. And then we're going to do const to-do form equals new form tool. And then we're going to pass in our form. That what this does is just binds our form so that way we have these two really easy to use functions. Okay, save. Okay, now what's the benefit of you doing that? Is that now I can do this. To-do form dot grab values. So that'll just take the values from the form and just give me back an object with those values, and I can just push that right into my array. So that makes life real easy. Okay, and then I can then I want to update the DOM. So make live component. So what I need to do is actually grab this particular one. So we're going to sit there and here we need to give this a ID. ID is display, we'll say. Okay, we need to grab that element. So save this. I'll call this const display equals document.get element by ID display. Save. The reason being is that this display has this property called life. This just because it's a live component. Again, we used make live component format. So the concept behind it is that it's alive. And now we want to update the store. And we're going to update the store and pass in the new version of the to-dos array as the new store value. Okay. So we pass that in, and then that will update the DOM. And then we want to clear the form. So then we just do to-do form dot clear form, and that clears the form. Okay. Now we just need to put that over here, make that the onClick event. And what was the function again? Submit. So on click, this button will just submit and save. Okay, so here's the submit button. So if I put some text in there, hit submit. Let's see here. Do we get an error? Yes. Of undefined. Update store of undefined. Okay, so I'm pulling that function from the wrong place. So let's go back to the code. Again, I just built this library, so it's still not all firmly in my imagination. Let's go back to the... Nope, that's going to be lower than this. Make live component. Actually, this might be in site builder. So let's see this .target .inner HTML. Oh yeah, here we go. Update store. Okay, and then we need to go to the make live component. So this .life, .update store. And we pass in the new store. So why is that Just read that error again. Oh, maybe did I not grab the property correctly? That's what it is, because it's saying display is undefined. Display. Let's take a look at my HTML. Oh, I see. I put the ID on the wrong tag. Control X. I want it here. Save. Okay. Still said undefined, so that still concerns me because I should have at least grabbed the input element, but we'll find that in a second. Cannot read property of life of null. Okie dokie. Go back to our app.js. Get element by ID. Doesn't want to take that ID for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do this a little bit differently. We only have one instance of ToDo display, so I could use query selector. So that's what I will do. So save. Okay, so we're going to just use query selector ToDo display. Save. And that should get us where we need to be. Let's refresh. Let's see, cannot read proper length of undefined. Okay, this gets back to the builder. So let's walk this through. Oh, I made the same mistake again. No. Okay, again, the store has to be an object with the property of to-dos. There we go. That's the mistake. Made it twice now. Okay, make the same mistake all the time when I use like class functions in React. I keep forgetting you need to pass in the object with all the properties all over again. Okay. So let's refresh. And there you go. It's adding it to the to-do. And see, it clears the form. And again, I have to set up Webpack. I didn't have to go run a server. I'm all using native DOM APIs. And I can then just style this. Now again, the components have their own shadow DOMs. So in that case, I would have to style them in their templates. Or, yeah, basically style them in their templates. So kind of like I did here. So then I would go back and in the builder, I would just create another string with the style tag and append it to all of this. So then I would do, well, you guys get the idea. I would just basically do like const style equals, and then do a string there, and then do some style tags. Just start doing my styles. Okay, so in this case, in this component, the main thing I'm interested in styling is the UL. And actually, I think I can even do a link tag in here. Let's give that a shot. What am I thinking of? Oh, I want to get milligram. Milligram CDS, CSS, CDN. I like milligram because I don't have to worry about any classes or anything like that. I can just plop that in there and it'll just style things. So let's grab the link tag, save, plop that in here. And let's see if this works. I'm not sure if this would, but let's try it out. So then what I'm going to do is then before the li, I will interpolate style. Okay, so essentially my string will be the style tag, then, oh, that's another issue. UL. This should be a UL with the li's in between. Oh, no, no, no. I'm putting it in the wrong place. It's gonna, there we go. That's right. Here's where I want to put the style. Style. Cool. Save. And then let's see if that works. doesn't. Oh, kind of does. That's weird, because the bullet's definitely a changed a little bit. But the rest of it's not styled. I mean, within this, because this is technically the shadow DOM here. Interesting. I wonder if I use one of the other versions. Let's try not the minified version. Let's just try this one. Copy link tag. Save. Okay, there's some slight styling. Okay, cool. So you can do that. I can link to a CTN style sheet from within the shadow DOM. Put in a link in there, and then maybe I want to do the same thing. Well, technically this is in the normal DOM. This is not in the shadow DOM because I put the form right here. So I could just actually just drop this link right over here. Boop. Save, and that should just make that all look better. Yep, there we go. Okay, but cool. So you basically have a to-do list application, or at least you can add the to-do list. Then we have to add the functionality to remove the to-dos. But it wouldn't be any different than you would normally do it. So basically, I would try to add something you can click on that removes it. So what I could do is let's go back to our app.js. Let's go back to where we create those LIs. So we're going to want the index. Cool. So then what we're going to want to do is do an on click. Well, first let's actually make the function. So we're going to do that. We'll define the function over here above this. Const remove to do equals, and then we're going to take in the index, which we will have access to. Okay, index, and basically what this will do is we'll take the to-dos array, dot splice, and we're going to take the index and remove one element from it, and then we're going to do, then we just re-render it. So that's going to be the update thing. So display.life update store, and then we just pass in the store again, to-dos with the updated to-dos, and that should do that. Good. So now I just come back to the LI, add the onClick event. So onClick equals display remove to do, and in here we're going to pass in the reinterpolate the index because we have it as part of the map function, which is pretty nice. Save, and yeah, that should be it. That should work. So if I add some to-dos, okay, then if I click on a to-do, it disappears. Huzzah! Okay, not too bad, right? Okay, like, again, one of the things about the design of this is that it doesn't have, when I just made all these pieces, so I haven't necessarily come up with sort of a standard workflow or conventions per se. So once you kind of learn how the different pieces work, you can kind of come up with your own way you're going to use them. There's a lot of other things I did not use in the making of this application that are in the library, such as the rotator, which is kind of like a router. You could use, instead of just making a live component, you could just actually create that kind of reactivity without actually having to make a individual HTML tag by using the site builder class. And there's a lot of other really cool stuff in there. You can watch some of the other videos in my MercedUI playlist to learn how to use those features. But this kind of gives you an idea of like, you can actually create get a full-on application done pretty quickly. And again, this would have been quicker if it wasn't just for just a lot of my own just mistakes and me just forgetting how this worked in some parts. So yeah, this is the MercedUI. You can create a reactive application like I just did. And again, you can just throw in your styling inside your templates with style tags. And then looking at this, let's see, you know, some of your global stylings does seem to affect what's inside your shadow DOM. So that's nice. So not a bad deal. Cool. I will see you guys later on.